What would you tell a builder right now? It's the end of the day. He's getting in the truck, packing up. He's going home. He's 2 hours late for dinner. What's the first thing? What are the like 3 things, 5 things? I don't know what that magic number is, but mate, here's what you need to do now to get your life back.
So if things aren't going the way you want, or they're going okay, but it feels like, it's a bit of a photocopy of the last year, or last year you're going great, but you know that you can do so much better, then I would say reach out, look around, educate yourself, talk to other builders where you want to get to, look for different communities out there of people who are crushing it, and then look at where can you invest your time and energy in turning pro. So Stephen Pressfield has a great book called Turning Pro, and that's all about, one, show me your calendar and show me your bank account. Where are you investing time and money in getting better? And there is no greater investment than betting on yourself and investing in yourself as the lead person in charge of the outcome of your life, and your business as the best vehicle to help get you the life that you want. There is no greater return than investing in yourself and the skills to be a better business person.
Welcome to the Builder Straight Talk podcast with your host, Michael Krisa. Get the unfiltered truth from the trenches of construction, real estate, and funding. This episode is made possible by our sponsor, Sound Capital, funding built for builders.
Oh, hey there, Marty. I'm really excited to have you on the call today. Thanks for taking the time out all the way from New Zealand. And I guess that's going to prompt the first question. Why would an American builder listen to anybody from New Zealand for building advice to how to get more profitable in America?
Well, that's a great question. I'm glad you asked it, and fantastic to be on here, Michael. I'm very appreciative of you and appreciate this opportunity. So we've been doing this for 21 years. We've been coaching general contractors and building company owners how to build a business that gives them both more money and more time. And typically most business company owners build themselves a prison. So they only focus on the more money. They don't focus on the systems that are going to give them the time to be able to build a business rather than just having a busy job with overhead. So they end up quite often hating their business and stuck. So over the last 21 years of trial and error and terror, we've worked with more than 3,000 building company owners and general contractors throughout New Zealand, Australia, the US, the UK, Canada, and Puerto Rico, of all places. And the fundamentals that we've discovered and that we apply with our members helps you to break that cycle of feeling like you're on the builder's hamster wheel, because you can't scale chaos and you can't scale lack of profits. You'll just run faster on that hamster wheel. So these are fundamental business principles that work in every area of helping to know your number of leads, conversion rate, average dollar sale, margin, and then how do you actually build a team in the office and on site with great visibility that allow you to achieve your dreams and goals than you set out to. And we actually have more members now in the US and Canada than we do in New Zealand. So
I think that message that you're trying to preach, about profitability is universal, and the systems. And I think that's the important thing that you just kind of slip in there. It's about systems. So the average builder, is focused on, I can't say focused. They're doing everything. They're inspecting the sites, doing bids, making sure the trades are showing up on time, ordering whatever they need. And I guess out of the E-Myth, I forgot the guy's name, Michael Gerber said, if you're spending all your time working in your business, you're not working on the business. So you're never going to get outside of that trap because you're constantly micromanaging all the small stuff. And as you said, I guess if we put this in perspective, what is a builder's actual time worth?
Exactly.
And I think when you do that, when they actually realize, holy jumping, I'm doing $20 or $10 an hour tasks, and my core competency is $200-$300 an hour. What the hell am I doing?
Exactly. So that's what we do with our members when they first come on, is we get their P&L. So we analyze their profit and loss, their pro forma, and we look at where are you currently and where do you sit on the golden ratios of margin, 20 to 25%, depending on the size of the projects you're doing, overheads between 8 to 12, and then net profit after paying yourself a salary of 10% plus back to the company owner. So first we look at the numbers, then we look at your KPIs, what's driving that. And that gives us the 80-20 of where should we focus to get the biggest impact in the next 90 days. And there's actually a formula that we've developed at the Professional Builder to figure out what should you stop doing. Like, because not everything you do during the week is of equal value. Some things have a massive impact and move the needle, and some things practically anyone can do in the business. So our first concept is what we call the Professional Builder's Rate. So how that works is you take the total amount that you get paid as a salary. So let's say that's 100 grand. And then you take the company profit. Let's say that's 100 grand. You add those two together. So we've got 200K. You divide that by the amount of weeks that you're working. And I don't like doing public math, so I'll make this simple. So 200K divided by 50 means you're getting 4 grand a week. Makes sense so far? Then we divide that by the number of hours that you're doing. So that 4 grand, if you're doing 50 hours, your professional builder's rate is $80 an hour. So anything that is below $80 an hour, we want to systemize that and apply the SAP principle to it, or the SAD principle. So what are we going to stop? What can we automate? And what can we delegate over the next 30 days to get you 1 day per week back? And we're going to be ruthless with that. And our coaches work with you to figure out, what do you procrastinate on? What do you suck at? Do you have lots of pricing piling up that you don't want to be doing that estimating, working on those bits? And maybe it's 4 or 5 weeks and you haven't got back to someone because you come home and you're doing pricing at night. And then we can look into, okay, cool. Should you be looking at a junior quantity surveyor, junior estimator? Should you be looking to outsource your estimating to an estimating company? What should you be doing? Can we systemize it and involve your foreman or your superintendent in the pricing? He prices up the labor hours and helps to get it. And then we have systems and processes to help you implement that so that you know, or you trust and you verify.
So in a builder's evolution when they're first starting out, and it could be a solopreneur, for lack of a better word, solo builder, maybe he's got a few helpers. They build 1 to 12 homes a year, they make a half decent living. They want to then scale that. They're up to 25 to 30. Is there a magic point where a builder kind of has to sit back and say, all right, at what point, as I'm scaling this business, do I have to take myself out of the equation and start bringing in other people?
So there's 2 key crunch points. The first one is at the $1 to $2 million mark, where you're alternating between being on the tools, doing the project management, doing the pricing and the estimating, dealing with all the clients, doing the sales, doing the marketing. And you might have 1 crew and you're looking to move to 2 crews. And it's like, holy shit, there's just too much to do. How do I go from working in the business 100% of the time to on the business? And it's not a light switch. It's like a dimmer switch. So we figure out, okay, what's all the stuff that you suck at, procrastinate on, and we help get that off your plate. And then we look at what's the low level stuff that you're doing that we can build a job description out. So it might be that you're doing the invoicing. It might be that you're collating the guys' paychecks to do their payroll from their labor hours. It might be that you are onboarding new team members. So we figure out what is it that an office manager could take care of for you. So that's in our business maturity date. And we look at your org chart, who are we going to hire first? So that's around the $1 to $2 million mark. The next choke point is at the $5 to $7 million mark, where you're building out your management team, and you should have an office manager, quantity surveyor or 2, someone pricing the jobs, project manager, a person doing the marketing and the sales, and then lastly, a general manager to replace yourself. And you need to figure out, where are the biggest holes? What's slowing us down? Where's my genius? Like, where do I make the biggest impact? What do I love and what am I naturally great at? Cool. Let's figure out how you do more of that and less of the crap work that you suck at or you procrastinate on. And then let's line that up. So now we've got a stop doing list, and we've identified we're going to buy you back 8 hours per week doing this. We've got a job description of all the tasks that you're not going to do for the next role. We then line that up with your cash flow forecast, and it might be there's 12 hours to hire an office manager that it's going to buy back. You're like, cool, I'm going to take 6 of those hours that I buy back, and I'm going to work on higher dollar value tasks in the business. So I'm going to work on systemizing on site, back costing in real time, improving project management, a bonus system for the team. The other 6 hours, I'm going to reclaim some of my sanity, reclaim some of my life, get back in the gym, take the kids to school, and just generally get back into my health and fitness.
That part's crucial, though, isn't it? I think most builders or entrepreneurs in general, again, they're so focused on trying to make the money and do everything that if they forget that if they don't have a quality of life, what's the point of even doing this? And if they're not seeing their family, you just said if they're not going to the gym, not staying healthy and fit, you're going to burn yourself out. There is no business. So
Absolutely.
do you find what's like I don't want to say mistake. I hate using that word mistake. When I used to competitively fight, my coach would say, "Hey, that's a really novel way that you're blocking punches with your face, but there is a better way. Let me show you." Okay.
What? Tell me more, because I used to box as well. Did you box or kickbox?
Kickbox.
Awesome.
Yeah, I
I
came
love
across his face honestly, my friend, honestly.
it. Looking, still
Yeah.
get looking good. Still got all your teeth. I like it.
Well, yeah, but they're attached with glue, so that's another story altogether. What have you found is the biggest obstacle holding builders back? Is it ego that gets in the way? Is it they're just too dang unorganized? They don't want to realize that they need help? Like, you've done this long enough to know. What is it?
I think it's a combination of things. So I think it's fear and uncertainty. I think it's lack of awareness of what can I do, what should I do, how do I get out of that, and a little bit of ego. Will I look silly? I don't really understand or know or am controlling my numbers. I don't have good visibility in our forward pipeline. I'm not back costing in real time. Like, holy shit, I know I need to do this, but how do I actually do it? So people come to us for two reasons. So we work with building companies typically between 1 to 10 million and in our growth accelerator program. And then in our boardroom program, building company owners typically between 10 to 100 million that are doing specs, doing developments, they're building out their management team, they're setting the business up for sale, they're looking for an exit, or they're starting a secondary business. So they come to us for two key reasons. Number one is knowledge. So what to do at each stage of the builder's ladder as you grow, changes and evolves. And number two is execution, because quite often they know what they need to do, but they just don't have the time or they're not getting to it to implement it. So we help overcome that knowledge and execution one through a couple of ways. The execution one through plug and play content. So we take best practice. We've coached over 3,000 building companies and general contractors throughout the world over the last 21 years. When someone's doing something phenomenally well, we take what it is. So it might be a bid proposal or an action plan. We get our top performing 5 members, we interview them what's going well, and then we take that and we template it so that a new member can use that to win quotes at a higher level. And it's not just here's the price, here's 17 pages of numbers. It goes through how we work with you. What are the rules of the game for our team? Who's going to be on site? Who are our partners? What are the frequently asked questions? What's the software that we use? How do you get in contact with us? Et cetera, et cetera. So this is a high involvement purchase that people have a lot of concerns with. So we help to overcome those. Plug and play content makes a massive difference because you're going with the higher chance of what's working right now for the top 5% of builders. Number two is a community. So if you can be around like-minded people and you've always thought, shit, I'm tired of quoting for free. It takes me 30 to 50 hours to price it up an average size house. And I might just get price checked against 2 other general contractors. So, oh yeah, I have all these balloons and stuff that keep going off when I'm waving my hands around. So plug and play content, a community of other builders, right? So you can have confidence that yes, you can charge for your quotes. You can do a prelim budget process, and here's how it works. And we've interviewed our members who are crushing it doing this. You've got the interview of them. You've got the plug and play tools, agreements, script, templates, and then you can talk to them in the community because you've got a community of people who are on the same path, who might be 1 or 2 steps ahead of you, who've solved the challenge that you might be grappling with right now and are happy to reach out because a rising tide lifts all boats. And lastly, number 3 is coaching. So one-on-one coaching every month to hold you accountable, make sure that you're doing what you said you were going to do, give you a high five for when you're winning and give you a smack on the hand or a kick up the butt for when you're not doing what you should be. And that's what a good coach does. They extend you and raise you to the next level. So those are the 3 core principles of how we help people to implement and execute when they're time poor.
I think it's brilliant that you're tapping into the mindset of other successful builders. So it's not you that has all the answers. It's almost like cross pollination. The bees go out there, they bring everything back to the hive. And so you're tapping on, what's worked for you, what hasn't worked for you. And it's not theory. This is actually practical knowledge that you're now dispelling with everybody else.
Exactly. So we interview our members every week who are crushing it. We've grown from 17 to 65 people on our team in the last 18 months, and we're the biggest in the industry of coaching and helping general contractors and builders. And so we have 25 people on our coaching team. So we have specialty coaches. We have 5 specialty coaches. So these are general contractors and building company owners that have got their own companies or have sold their own companies, and that they're imparting their advice. Then we have other specialty coaches as well on compliance, contracts, marketing, etc. Then we have performance coaches that you talk with every month, have your one-on-one, make sure you're doing what you should be doing. And then when you get stuck, we have accountability coaches that reach out, say, hey, Michael, how are you going with your cash flow forecast? Hey, Michael, have you implemented that ad to hire your new carpenter? Right? And so we help problem solve there and then, because some people, they can get stuck in the weeds, and we want to make sure that you're building a business, not just getting stuck in the day-to-day of running a busy job.
How tough is it to get a builder to accept the coaching that you're offering? I mean, they put the money on the table, they say, hey, I've joined, but they're used to being captains of their own ship. How easy is it for them to take orders?
Well, we're not giving them orders at all. We're figuring out, what do you want to, what does success look like to you in the next 12 to 24 months? Okay, so what does that look like in terms of revenue, profit, number of hours that you work in your business? What do you want to get off your plate? Okay, you want to stop estimating. What else do you want to do with your time? And what do you want to do with the extra money that you're going to be bringing in? And then we figure out, cool, based off this, these are the specific strategies that will help you the most. Which of these are a priority to you that are going to help move the needle the most? So we're helping them identify, here's the playbook for this situation, and together we work out what's going to work best for you, because not every business is the same. They have all have the same business fundamentals, but people have different priorities, different challenges, different team skill sets, etc. So it's about working collaboratively with them. And we're not a done for you program, we're done with you. So we get in the trenches with you, we have plug and play content, and then we help to provide the context, the support, and the implementation to help get it done, rather than just going, hey, you should do this. And that's one of the biggest changes that we've made in the last 18 months, and why we've got 65 people, is to help actually implement that, because there might be a mindset block or a self-limiting belief that you or a building company owner will have in a particular area. Like, I can't charge for quotes or bids. Everyone else is doing it for free. Okay, cool. How do we get around that?
Have you ever encountered that? Like when you talk about mindset, have you ever experienced builders that don't charge what they're truly worth? And it's all about,
Absolutely.
I'm competing with my competition. So it's a race in pricing to the basement versus you can increase increase what you're charging. Maybe you're doing less, but in the long run, you're making more.
Builders typically go through this, like the roller coaster of income. Do the work, do the work, do the work. Oh shit, I don't have much forward work. Get the work, get the work, get the work. Do the work, do the work, do the work. Oh shit, we only have 8 or 10 weeks ahead of us. Get the work, get the work, get the work. So what we help them to install is a sales and marketing system, so that you have a steady flow of the right kind of leads. You have a 10-step sales process that converts consistently, positions you as the go-to builder in your local area, so that you don't have to compete on price to win jobs at a cheaper or lower margin just to keep you guys busy. So as we win more and better jobs and you put the sales process into place, if you're booked out for 6 months at 18%, the next projects we're going to price at 20%. Then you're going to land some of those, and then we're going to be booked out another 4 to 6 months with projects at 20%. Now we're going to price jobs at 21 to 22%. Make sense?
Kind of off topic. You and I probably know the same guy, Dan Kennedy.
Dan is my this whole bookshelf.
Yeah.
Those 2 levels, Dan Kennedy. He is my.
You and me both. I bring him into the equation because here's a guy that's probably the best copywriter, business mind on the planet. And if
Yes.
you want to reach him, you have to get him by fax. He doesn't take email. He won't take a phone call. You have to send a fax. And then
Excellent.
he'll take his time. He'll go through it. And if you're worthy, because you presented a good enough case, then he'll take you on as a client. And he charges, I don't want to say an exorbitant amount, but he charges what he thinks he's worth. He
Exactly.
gets so many people will call him or fax him that he purposely will throw out a number that's so outrageous, he figures nobody's going to take it. And if they do, well, okay, then I'm going to work with you. But now he's established a new benchmark for what he's worth. Can
Yeah.
that same thing apply into the building sphere?
1,000,000%. So you've got 4 Ps to work with. So people want to know before they work with you, your price, process, people, and product. So if you don't educate people on your process, your people, and your product or your projects, then guess what they're going to use to assess you? Your price. If you don't give anyone else those variables, they're going to use price as a proxy for quality. So we want to make sure that we educate those people on those 4, and we answer those 4 questions. Who are you? Who's your company? Can I trust you? And how specifically can you help me? So it might be, hey, when you build with us, your money goes into a separate trust account. So you know your deposit and all your money for this project is safe because it's held in this trust account, as opposed to Bob the builder robbing Peter to pay for Paul, using deposits from the next projects to help pay his contractors to finish this project, etc.
Let's talk about the marketing side. You mentioned your core pillars, if you will. How does marketing fit in? And when I say marketing, I'm talking about like scientific specific to make the phone ring, to get people to respond, as opposed to just having a post in the newspaper or sign on the lawn. Do you guys cover that too with your coaching?
Everything. It's at the heart of everything we do is numbers based. So marketing is math, and direct response principles are key. So every marketing that we put out, bit of marketing fundamentals that we help you implement from your website. Is your website a pretty brochure, like a 1980s brochure, or does it have a pixel on it so we can track everyone that comes there? Does it have a lead magnet on it? Top 9 things that you need to consider before building your new home in Colorado. So it's a low involvement thing. People are going to opt in for that, and we're going to have a list of inquiries every week of people that have opted in.
Okay, let me pull you
So
back here for a sec, mate. You're using terms like lead magnet and pixels, and you and I talk about this all day long, so it's nothing new to us. Let's go back to step 1, advertising versus direct response marketing. What's the difference? Because most builders
okay,
will advertise.
absolutely. So an advertisement would be chucking a ad in the paper and waiting for the phone to ring, or putting up site signage. Direct response site signage would have some core direct response principles. So number 1, you track and measure. Number 2, you have a call to action. Number 3, photos of people engender more know, like, and trust. So if you put a photo of yourself and or your wife or significant other, showing, hey, we stand behind our projects. Call Bob right now on 47 da 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 da. Right, so it's got a direct response. And then lastly, there might be a little guide or a bribe or something of value that's low risk. Scan the URL code or go here to download the builder's guide to building in Colorado, for example. And then what we're going to do is every day and every week, we're going to write down how many leads did we actually get. So that's the biggest thing from direct response. So it follows the correct principles. It tracks what we're doing. It has a specific call to action. So call Bob right now if you're thinking about building and blah, blah, blah. Well, call Bob right now if you're thinking about building on some spare land. And then we're going to know, hey, at the end of the week, if we've reverse engineered, we need 10 leads to price 2 projects to win 1 job. Then we're going to know, shit, it's Friday. We've only had 4 leads and we actually haven't priced any jobs. And we haven't had any leads from word of mouth. We haven't had any leads from newspaper, but we've had 3 from site signage. And you're like, cool, let's double down on the site signage, make them bigger, put them on every project that we're currently doing, the 8 around town, and then let's double down on what's working. And then we can come back to cost per lead. So let's say it cost $1,000 for that site signage, and we had 3 leads that that month or 10 during the month, so 3 during the week, then we know that every lead cost us $100 out of that $1,000 that it cost us for the
Yeah,
site.
that part's crucial. I think if I were to kind of drill it down, if I will, I would say that advertising is about me. It's ego.
Yep.
We're the greatest builder, whatever. Whereas direct response marketing, you're trying to find a self-serving interest. So you're asking the question from the client's perspective, what's in it for me? Right. And you
The
referenced a
best
report.
radio station in the
Yeah. Yeah, what's in it for me? And that's what they want to hear. So your marketing is specifically addressed to them, your potential avatar, which is another thing that you have to figure out in your mind. Who's your perfect customer?
100%. And most people, their website will read like this. We started in 1986. We make sure that you get blah, blah, blah. We, and you we all over yourself. It needs to be focused on the customer, what their concerns are, what your ideal avatar is, what their challenges are, and then how you can differentiate that through your systems and processes. So people have 5 key concerns before they do a remodel or they build a custom new home. So that's cost, timeliness, trustworthiness, communication, and quality. So we want to say, if you're looking to build a new home, here's how we make sure that you get the best quality. We've got these Master Builders Awards. We use only the best carpenters. We make sure that every house is eco-friendly. And so we want to make sure every project has a 287-point quality assurance checklist. We want to make sure that we show them the systems and processes that we have that overcome that key concern. And then
I
we
think
put that on our website and our information pack, et cetera, et cetera.
so. It's about telling that story. It kind of reminds me of the Budweiser the famous Budweiser ad when it first came out. There was a copywriter went into Budweiser and they were trying to differentiate themselves from all the other beers. And we use spring water and it's in these big, beautiful copper kettles. And this copywriter was just blown away. Like he's feverishly writing down notes. Like this is a story that needs to be told. And then the beer masters at Budweiser said, well, no, everybody does that. Well, it's not a matter that everybody does that. Not everybody knows what it is that you do.
Exactly.
And in this
Exactly.
competitive landscape, it's now up to a builder to differentiate himself from the pack. What is that unique thing that you do? And maybe other builders are doing it too, but you have to articulate it in such a way that your potential buyers now understand it.
Absolutely. Is pull the kimono back, and social media is great for this, and show what is your process? What do you first do when you come to site? What are your rules of the game? How do the guys behave while they're in your home? And so we want to show them what are the systems, what are the processes that you have that ensure that you can deliver on time, to budget, with great communication. Hey, we use Builder Trend for our project management. This is so that before any variation or change order gets signed off, we'll price it up. We'll let you know in advance. You can sign it off there and then, and we'll bill you every week so that there's no nasty hidden surprises at the end of the project.
Yeah. Everything that we're talking about right now, I know we're covering a lot of ground. We're doing it quickly. Is what we're talking about basically the genesis from this book?
Yes, absolutely. So 21 years, 2.5 years of writing, and this book details all the things that we've tested with our members, has member success stories, and goes through what are all the mistakes that our members have made. We've tested 300 to 400 different strategies across sales, marketing, systems, pricing, leadership, on-site, in the office on how to grow a great construction company. And then it's boiled it down into here's the top 85 strategies that will help you across those 6 areas for you to build your dream business.
I've got to say too that shameless promotion here, get nothing out of it, but it was an easy read, very informative. And I like the fact that you broke it up with a lot of pictures, because too many business books are so text heavy that for somebody like me, like I look at it and I go, okay, chuck it into the bin, give me a comic. But I found this a really easy read with good stories, and kudos to you, my friend. I also think you're top within the top 3 right now on Amazon, or
Yeah, so 100%. So we're number 1 in 3 different categories for consulting, business coaching, and engineering.
okay. So again, shameless promotion. Where can they get a copy of the book?
Well, they can get a copy of the book at www.theprofessionalbuilder.com. However, what I'd like to do for your listeners is I think we'll drop a link in the show notes where we'll give 50 copies away for free to the first 50 people, and we'll make that available in email, the show notes, and we'll work out a special free code that people just pay for the shipping.
Brilliant, man. Thanks for that. Much appreciated.
Appreciate it. And I think one of the differences with this book is that we've put all the tools and resources, the best. We want this book to be about transformation, not just education. So transformation happens when you get education plus action gives you results. So we know that lack of action typically comes from lack of clarity on what to do or lack of time. So we've got 12 plug and play resources that are in the book, from best practice pricing spreadsheets, job ads, how to attract new carpenters, scorecards for each of your builders, Facebook marketing strategies. So you get those $3,000 worth of resources. Plus you get to come behind the scenes to one of our members' trainings in the next 90 days. And lastly, you get a free one-on-one session with one of our growth advisors where we'll give you a plan over the next 90 days. We'll look at your numbers and we'll figure out what's possible with your business over the next 90 days with the right strategies. How much extra money can you make and how much time can you buy back? And that's no obligation. We just want to give people a plan. At the end of it, great, you'll be in one or two positions. One, you'll have a plan. You can go and execute that on your own. Or two, if you want to talk to us about working together, what that can look like, we can talk about the different options and the different programs that we have.
Now, you're about to pack up the bus and take your gang on a U.S. tour. Tell us more about that.
Yes, yeah, we'll give you a flyer with all the dates, but Tuesday, July the 22nd, we're going to be in Dallas doing a seminar in the morning. Wednesday, the 23rd, we'll be in Fort Worth. And then the 24th, we're going to be in the tech hub of the US in Austin. Then we're going to be playing a little bit of golf. And then we have the Sunbelt Builders Show in Dallas. And that trade show is on the Tuesday and Wednesday, the 29th and the 30th of July. And then the following week in August, we will be in San Antonio on the Tuesday and then Houston on Wednesday and Thursday. And then I'll fly back home to New Zealand to go to a tennis camp with my loving wife.
Does a jet lag just knock you on your ass, or how do you deal with that?
Yeah, it's a killer. I need to find a way to deal with it better because it really knocks me around.
Almost like you have to clone yourself so you can be in two places at once.
Exactly. And that's what it's all about, right? Building, raising up leaders in your company, leveling up your team, and having people that can make decisions. And a great tool for that, like a great takeaway, if no one gets anything else out of today, is PSR. So when someone comes to you with a problem, help them follow these 3 steps. Number 1, problem, like define the problem specifically. The concrete truck can't arrive this afternoon. It's probably going to come tomorrow. Okay. Yes. What are 3 potential solutions? 1, we can tell all the tradespeople and subcontractors to go home. 2, we could call another concrete company. Or 3, I could call the owner of the truck to, pay him a bit of overtime to get him to come back later this Sabo so we maintain productivity. And then lastly, recommendation. So define the problem, 3 solutions, and then what is that one person's recommendation? Well, I recommend we call the company owner. He's a mate of a mate's, and I reckon we'll be able to get him back. We'll keep productivity, and we won't have to waste the guys who are here now waiting. So you're getting them to think conceptually, getting them to take ownership, problem solve, and it helps take the monkeys off your back, helps raise up leaders, and you're testing their autonomy and future ownership and accountability.
So I'm going to ask you, what's the end game for Marty? Is there an exit strategy for this? And then we can dovetail that into how you're positioning yourself. What is some words of advice to builders? Because the mistake that I don't want to say mistake, I hate saying that, but one of 3 things happens. They get to a point where they're just burnt out. I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. And that legacy is just no more. It's dust the day after. Or they position themselves as an acquirable asset that somebody will take over because there's value to it. And we'll talk about value in a minute. Or number 3, they partner with somebody and work less, but the partner starts investing and takes it and builds it up. Are you looking at something similar in your business? And then let's parody that over to builders.
Absolutely. So for our business, in the last chapter in this book is set your business up for sale. So we've helped probably about 35 to 40 of our members succession plan. So set their business up for an exit, or structure a buy-in with a team member. So for our business, I've structured a buy-in with my business partner, Owen. He's been with me for 10 years. He's 32. I'm 54. And so he is a absolute gun. So he's the general manager. The management team report to him, and then he reports to me. So he does all the day-to-day, and it frees me up to think of joint ventures, strategic alliances, spread the word, and to think bigger and do what helps keep me in my zone of genius and enthusiasm. Look, so a great saying is a general manager looks at today, a CEO looks at tomorrow.
I'm just writing that down. I love that. Your zone of genius. And what was it? And the other part of enthusiasm?
Yeah, and enthusiasm for the business. So I'm in my happy place of where I am having the biggest impact and I enjoy the most, and my skill set's being used and I'm naturally good at it. And so what we're doing now is we're looking at management equity plans. So we're in talks with private equity companies. Our goal is a $100 million exit in the next 3 to 5 years. And we want to grow this to the largest company in the world. It's very close to being there at the moment, but the largest company in the world, with seminar happening every week in person to help building company owners grow and level up their business around the world. And that's why we're doubling down on in-person seminars, partnerships and strategic alliances. And we're doing these throughout New Zealand, Canada, the US, Australia, and the UK. So that's our growth and expansion plan over the next 2 to 5 years, to democratize coaching and to make it accessible for building company owners and to help give them the fastest path from where they currently are to building a successful business.
You know, I got to confess, it was a sneaky way for me to ask that question to legitimize, is that a word? Legitimize
It
the
is now.
fact that
We'll
you
add it.
actually know, yeah, the fact that you actually know your shit, because you didn't backpedal, you weren't making stuff up. As a leader, you know what your numbers are, and you have a specific plan in place, and you know how to execute that. So kudos, my friend, because you're walking your talk.
Thank you. I appreciate that massively. And I think that's a big one out there is, as business owners and leaders and founders, we need to have a vision big enough for our team members to be able to achieve their goals and their vision within our grand master plan ecosystem and sphere of influence. So our $100 million exit is the minimum target in the next 2 to 3 years. And so what we're looking now is we've talked with private equity firms, and we're looking at a management equity pool, right? So that people have like an option where we can reward our management team with a percentage of that pool. Let's say we took 10% of the company, we can divide it up. And then upon a liquidity event, like a partial sale, they will get to realize that percentage of the sale. So let's say the business sold for 100 million, someone has 2%, they're going to get $1 million payday within the next 2 to 3 years. And if it was only 500K, let's say the business sold for 50 mil, then they've got a 90% chance of getting that K payday in the next 2 to 3 years. And what that does is that helps improve your cap table, keeps it clean. It helps ensure that you have motivated management team working hard with you, and that there's a big upside for them. They don't have voting rights, and it takes that cost off the P&L and puts it onto the balance sheet, so it only gets realized in a liquidity event. And so if you were going to have an extra 400 to 500,000 in profits and bonuses and so forth, and let's say it was 5K and you had a multiple of 8 upon exit, you've just made an extra $4 million that you can pay out to them, a pro rata ratio of that improves the profitability for everyone.
That's brilliant, because now you've got them tied to the end game. And they know
And
that the more
thinking like
they
owners.
invest, be it them, they're investing their time, their energies to make this a profitable and successful company. They've got skin, but at the end of the rainbow, there's a pot of gold waiting for them.
Exactly. Like
Yeah.
share the wealth, share the ownership.
Yeah.
The thing we most want is people that think like founders, they put their heart and soul into it and they're all in. That's what we're looking for. And that's what we help our members build an ecosystem and environment for their team to win as well.
So let's take that and morph it over to the builder side. Would it be safe to say that a savvy builder should be looking at the end in mind? End game. So let's walk us through that, Marty. How would you help a builder look at his business as a business with an exit strategy? How do they begin?
So that's the first thing that we do when we first meet with someone is we go through their numbers and we look at, okay, where are you currently with all your core numbers? So what's your revenue? What's your net profit? How many hours per week are you working? What role do you play in the business? What do you want to stop doing? And what do you want to do more of? And then we work out, cool, 12 months from now, 24 months from now, what does success look like for you? So if we were sitting down having a beer, what would have had to have happened for you to be stoked with how things are going, both personally and professionally? So they might go, cool, I want to go from 3 to 5 million. I want to go from 200,000 company profits to 550,000. Great. I want to go from working 60 hours a week to 40 hours. I want to stop doing the estimating. I want to hire a project manager, and I want to focus on working on the business rather than in it all the time. And we're like, okay, cool. So we've reverse engineered and we've got a bit of motivation and clarity on what success looks like. And now it's reverse engineering. What's the 80-20 and which of those ratios is going to move the needle the most? So if you've got a low gross margin, like sub 15%, then it makes no sense for us to turn the fire hose on, fill the bucket up with water if you've got these big holes that water is just pissing up. So first we want to make sure that we're pricing to a target margin that's going to meet your goals. And let's say that's at a minimum of 20%. Next, if you're doing fixed price contracts at 20%, but you're not back costing in real time and it's coming out at 15%, then we're going to plug those holes. Project management, having the foreman or the superintendent price the labor hours, incentivize the team, daily tracking of the labor hours forecast versus actual. So let's say the framing was going to be 100 hours and we're halfway through and it's like, oh shit, we're at 72 hours. So the foreman or the superintendent can say to the builders, we're 22 hours over. What do we got to do to pull back those 22 hours, guys? Otherwise, no one's getting their bonus. So we improve productivity in real time. So we reverse engineer that. And now we've got motivation, numbers to keep us on track, and we can hold them accountable. They can hold their team accountable to making sure that those numbers are improving every month. So every month we review our numbers, both the KPIs and the financials with our members. Your numbers go straight into our profit calculator, and then we can see in real time what's on track with the company, what's off track, and then with your individual projects, what's on or off track. And then we can help take the course correcting action that is going to make sure that you're hitting your goals.
Earlier, I asked you how hard is it for a builder to take direction or order. I guess the question I should be asking right now is how difficult is it for them to be able to present their numbers to you? And by doing that, being the mean bastard that you are, it's almost a vital thing because you're looking at it dispassionately with the third eye. There's no emotion tied to the numbers. There is tied to the builder because you're trying to help them, obviously. But you become like the winning person on the team because it's all about here's where you are, here's where you tell me you want to be, here's what we need to get there, mate. Listen to what I have to say.
Exactly. So business is a numbers game. Numbers tell us a story. They tell us what's working well that we should do more of and what's not working. So we have a look at your golden ratios every month. So what is your gross margin? What are your overheads? And what is your net profit? So they should be between 20 to 25% typically, depending on the size of the project. Overheads between 8 to 12%, including your salary as an owner, and then net profit of at least 10%. And so we're looking at those every month as a company, and then we're breaking down by project, where do those sit? So you might have an overall company gross margin at 20%, but you might have 3 jobs at 22 and 1 at 14. So we want to identify what's going on with that 1 at 14, what's happening with the foreman or the superintendent that's running it, where are they behind on their labor hours, do they have their work in progress up to date, have they captured all the materials, are they capturing all the change orders and variations and invoicing them in real time every week. So we want to make sure that we've plugged those holes in project management. So those numbers tell us what's working. And before we can even get to that, we look at your profit and loss. We go through your numbers with you. We compare where you're off, what strategies we should implement. And we do this on a one-on-one session with you when we first talk to you. And then we say, hey, if we were to improve these financials, so your gross margin, what strategy should we choose first out of the 9 gross margin levers? So is it pricing going in? Is it capturing variations? Or is it, through the project? So is it controlling your labor hours? Making sure that you invoice every week? What is going to move the needle the most? Then we help you to implement those strategies. And quite often, and we track every month, quite often it's setting up your chart of accounts to make sure your ledger has your cost of sales in the right place so you can get a true gross margin. Because quite often people who have wages of what's happening on site down in their fixed costs or their overheads. So we first have to re-engineer their financials to make sure that we're getting a true gross margin, make sure that you're paying yourself, and then make sure that the business is running profitably and that you're not subsidizing it.
Is it fair to say that average builders will have similarity in what their challenges are, but then what you're doing, you identify that, but then you also customize your approach to buttress what they need help with, but then also give them support in what they're really doing good at?
Absolutely. So this is where we're different. We have 65 people on our team. So we have specialty coaches that can help you. You might really be struggling on site and you're struggling with project management. You're struggling with productivity of your carpenters, getting your subcontractors to show up on time, etc. So that might take 90 days for us to help sort that out. And that might be weekly sessions to help get your project management dialed in. But if you're really good in that area and you need help with sales and marketing, then we're going to help work with you to get the leads up and to get your sales process dialed in. So are you just picking up the phone? Hey, sorry, I'm up a tree. Hey, can I give you a call later? Or I'm at the top of the ladder. Versus, hello, welcome to XYZ building. Do you mind if I ask you a couple of questions? Cool. Do you have your plans? Do you have consent? What's your budget? How did you hear about us? When do you need to start? When do you need to finish? What's most important to you during a project? So you actually have a process that you're taking people through from inquiry, phone script, inquiry form that they fill in. Then what are you sending them before you go out to do the site visit? Because people want to know, who are you? Who's your company? Can I trust you? And how specifically can you help me? So if we send out an info pack before that, you're going to get much further ahead than trying to do a cold to sold sell, because people have got all those questions. And if you've sent that out in what's called, Dan Kendi refers to lumpy mail or a wow info pack, because it's big and it gets couriered and it says, hey, we value you. We've invested significantly in sending you this $12 courier pack. And this is a game changer. Having a sales process that you can rely upon, and then having each of the parts actually done. And then there'll be I'm going to come out. Here's what's going to happen in the initial site visit. We're not just going to have a chat. I'm going to have a look at your plans. We're going to have a look at your property. We're going to figure out what project management will look like, who's going to be involved. And then the next steps are the prelim budget process. And here's how that works. Let me explain, blah, blah, blah. Then you work through the next parts. How do you go back, get your pricing done, and then come back? What do you actually say and present during that meeting where you're presenting the action plan and comparing apples versus apples with any other potential contractors or competitors? So when you've got confidence in that, then you can start to put the foot down. But there's no point in scaling marketing unless you've got your numbers dialed in and your project management and your back costing, because you can't scale chaos. You can't scale lack of profits. You just run faster on the builder's hamster wheel.
I think it's brilliant that you have such a logical approach to how to do this. But on top of that, you have your specialists. It's not somebody just reading out of a manual. Oh, hold on, you've got a problem with what? Oh, there's a tab here somewhere, and they're flicking through the book. You've got people that have actually been through the fire that can
Exactly.
share the best way to get there.
Yeah, who've lived it, breathed it, done it. And the good thing is that in the community, like we have over 1,000 building company owners in our community, and no matter what you're struggling with, there'll be someone at your level. There'll be someone 1 to 2 steps ahead who solved the exact same problem that you've had. And there'll be someone who's like your North Star, or I want to be doing developments. I want to start a second business. I want to structure a buy-in with my son or with my foreman or with my super. And then you can talk to those people. Great. How did you do it? And we will interview those people every week, and we will template their documents so that you can use it, get it into play quickly, and have the greatest chance of success, rather than trying to figure it all out on your own and try to take maybe 5 years to get through trial and error, or trial and terror as we call it, versus the next 12 months with a plan, one-on-one coaching, a community, and plug and play content.
You talk about the plan, and what we've talked about so far has been very, what's the word? Analytical, almost mathematical. Mathematical is what we've talked about. It's all about the numbers.
I thought you were going to say like what alcoholics refer to as a moment of clarity.
Uh, but how do you help them stay mentally focused, right?
Okay.
And so let me throw this at you. You strike me as the kind of guy that you've got the vision and you're pursuing the vision. And I would think any good builder, when he steps onto the site, in his mind, he already knows what that home is going to be like. As he steps through the mud, in his mind, he's opening the door. He can feel the trim. He knows what it's going to be. How do you
100%.
instill that same mental clarity and vision, I guess, to move forward into the builder's head to do that with his business?
100%. So you need to be able to lead three key areas. Number one, you need to be able to lead yourself. Most people don't have business problems. They have personal problems that transfer over into their business, and their business is a reflection of their life. So we help them get their stop doing list in place. We help them get their default diary or their perfect week structure in place. What's the 80-20? What are we going to get off your plate in the next 30 days and 90 days so that you can work on these other projects and so that you have a clearer mind at night? You go home and you've brought back 8 hours. You're present with your wife, you're present with your family. You're not thinking, oh shit, I've got 3 projects that I need to price. I've got to call the plumber back. Except I've got to call Mrs. Jones next week to let her know that we can't start on Tuesday. We need to start on Thursday. So we help buy that time back in that clear headspace. Where am I going? What personal habits do I need to tidy up? Culture is very health and fitness focused. So we're big into becoming the best you that you can be. And then how does that transition into business? What do we need to do? So the first one is lead yourself. So we have goal setting, vision. How do you get and engineer your holidays every 90 days so that your team and wife and family and friends get the best you, rather than your battery going 95, week 2, 92, week 3, 90, week 4, 87, until you're feeling burnt out. So we get that structure in place. First, lead yourself. Second, lead your business. So you need to have a clear vision of what does success look like? What is my business maturity date? So who do I need on the org chart? Line that up with the cash flow forecast of who do I hire next? When does it make sense? What's their job description? What's the scorecard so that they know they're going to be successful? So your project manager knows that he needs to get within 5% of the labor hours on each project by stage. Cool. And we can say, Bob, are you winning? He goes, hell yeah, I'm at 3%. Fantastic. Then what should we be paying them? What do they do each and every day? And then what are the systems that sit behind? How do they set up site? How do they do their toolbox meetings? How do they run their 287-point quality assurance checklist? How do they train their apprentices? So lead yourself, lead the business, and then lastly, lead the team. And so we work through those 3 phases as we help them grow their company to make sure that you're building a business that actually works for you, rather than feeling like you're working for the business and it's pulling you hither and thither in 1,000 different directions.
I heard that expression, there's never been a business plan that didn't look good on paper or work on paper. I take it then when you're working with your builders, this isn't a stagnant document chiseled in stone. It's flexible, just like a pilot in an airplane. This was a great analogy that I heard once, that a plane is off course 98% of the time. Which I thought, well, what do you mean 98%? 98% of the time the plane's off course, and that compass keeps realigning it. In lifetime keeps realigning it. I
Exactly.
would think that would be the real strength in coaching, is that ability to say, oh, we're close, but we need to be a bit more over here.
Absolutely. So a couple of things. One, as Mike Tyson says, everyone's got a plan until they get punched in the face. So we've got our plan on where we're heading to, what success looks like. And then along the way, like if labor hours start blowing out on a project, that just gives us the impetus to implement better project management, better forecasting, control of labor hours, incentivizing the team, and maybe it means putting in place pricing or project management software to ensure that we have daily tracking of forecast versus actual labor hours. And then we're going to have to get our team around, we're going to have to incentivize them, and we're going to have to shorten the feedback loop in our construction meetings. So visibility leads to accountability. So we have visibility with our coaches every week who's showing up, and we reach out, hey, Michael, we didn't see you at the cash flow forecast training. Great. Hey, how are you going? Do you need help, etc.? And then the next part is visibility on your numbers. So every month we get your numbers, they come into our system, and we look at which are the leading indicators, the key performance indicators. So have you got your 10 leads for the month that we needed? Shit, you've only got 4. Dude, what have you been doing? Then we drill down into the behavior that has led to that going on or off track. And then it's the same with if you're trying to lose weight, but you're not tracking what you're eating and you're not tracking your exercise, you're pissing in the wind trying to figure out, how do I improve this? Because what gets measured gets managed, and you can then make changes.
What would you tell a builder right now? It's the end of the day. He's getting in the truck, packing up. He's going home. He's 2 hours late for dinner. What's the first thing? What are the like 3 things, 5 things? I don't know what that magic number is, but mate, here's what you need to do now to get your life back.
So if things aren't going the way you want, or they're going okay, but it feels like, it's a bit of a photocopy of the last year, or last year you're going great, but you know that you can do so much better, then I would say reach out, look around, educate yourself, talk to other builders where you want to get to, look for different communities out there of people who are crushing it, and then look at where can you invest your time and energy in turning pro. So Stephen Pressfield has a great book called Turning Pro, and that's all about, one, show me your calendar and show me your bank account. Where are you investing time and money in getting better? And there is no greater investment than betting on yourself and investing in yourself as the lead person in charge of the outcome of your life, and your business as the best vehicle to help get you the life that you want. There is no greater return than investing in yourself and the skills to be a better business person.
It's brilliant that you're saying go talk to builders that are doing what you want to do, living the life that you want to live. When I was first starting off in real estate, I didn't know any better. And I looked at the guy who were the most successful realtors around me. Like, I want what he's driving. I want to wear the flashy shoes, like being impressionable, right? That's what I want. And what I discovered is you can approach these guys and they'll open the kimono and they'll tell you exactly what it is that they're doing. And the reason is, one, their mindset is wired for abundance. There's always going to be more out there. Number 2 is you're never going to be a threat because they know that 99% of the people they talk to, even though I've laid it out on a platter and I've handed it to you, they won't pick anything off the tray.
Exactly. And it's like everyone knows what you need to do to lose weight. Yet less than 1% of the population have 6-pack abs.
I've got a baker's dozen. So yeah, I'm ahead of you on that one.
Yeah, I've got a small keg. I've invested well.
Man, we're winding it down here. If I missed anything you want to add to this bonfire that we've stoked?
Yeah, I would just say that if you're in a tough spot or things aren't going how you would like them to, know that you're not a tree. You have the opportunity to change, to move, to make things better. Reach out for help and support. Pick up a book or go to a mastermind or listen to a podcast to help educate yourself. We have a podcast, The Builder's Ladder. Michael's podcast is fantastic, Builder's Straight Talk. Listen, educate yourself, reach out for help, and start seeing that your dream business and life could just be 1 or 2 changes away from picking up the phone, talking to someone, and doing something different. Because as Einstein said, as a wise man, to keep doing the same things and expect a different result is the definition of insanity. So if you want to get a different result, then you got to do something different. And
Speaking
reach
of
out, have a
insanity,
conversation.
what does Marty do for shits and giggles to unwind?
So I'm married to my loving wife, Serena Williams, Part 2. She's basically a full-time tennis pro. Well, she plays 5 days a week and loves it. We have a crazy dog, a male Rottweiler who's like Houdini. He escaped. I got a call on Saturday. He'd escaped out of the fence and he had the neighbor's cat up a tree. Then I got another next door neighbor who came down and said, "Hey, your dog's outside." And then I got a text from Kelly because it's like the builder with a leaky house. He got out through the toilet window and escaped and through a hole in the fence. So anyway, we've fixed the hole in the fence now. So looking after him, walking him, and then I have 2 boys, 10 and 13, Ashton and Zach, and we also travel a lot. I ride motorbikes, so I got a Ducati Street Fighter. I ride with mates. We go and do track days. And then I'm a bit of a petrol head or a gearhead. So our supercar owners club, I've got a Porsche GT3. We're doing track day next Monday down in Taupo. So do a lot of car stuff. And then lastly, I'm a 1980s heavy metal bogan. And so you'll catch me listening to Iron Maiden, Black Sabbath, Judas Priest, that sort of
You're
stuff.
living the dream, man. Living the
Living the
dream.
dream. Yep. And then traveling and talking to great people like you and helping grow a better community and helping change the industry and help people build better businesses. That's what I'm all about.
Let me end it off with this, Marty. I got one more question for you. And now that you're this rock star and you're traveling everywhere, the band is all going to North America, like all over, and you've been interviewed so many times. What is, if you were sitting here in my chair looking at you, what's that one question that you've never been asked that you were wishing that somebody would actually ask you?
What is it that drives you? It's the question that I like to ask everyone, and I don't think I've ever had it asked of me.
Okay, so you've queued it up, my friend. What is it that gets you out of bed in the morning and then makes you charge forward?
Well, from a young age, I've always wanted to be the best me that I can be. And so I've wanted to figure out, like, how do I be the best at chess at a young age? How do I be better at schoolwork? And it's like an internal competition with myself to figure out who's doing something smarter and better than me that I can get the results. So playing tennis. Okay, cool. What can I look at online, YouTube? Can I go and get a tennis coach, etc.? So my competition is with myself to be better every day than I was yesterday. How can I be a better dad? How can I be more present as a husband with my wife at night? How can I be a better business owner? How can I be a better leader? And that's typically stepping outside my comfort zone, doing something new, being in a mastermind. So we're in 2 masterminds. One, we were in France last month. I spoke at a seminar over there. We're going to Mexico next month to go to a conference there for a week. And it's so how can you be around other people that are going to help motivate, lift you higher to the next level of success that you're looking for? How can you have better habits? So, like 75 Hard, Andy Frisella's 75-day challenge is fantastic for mindset. And then how can you lift up and create a community of leaders, both in your team and around you, that are going to help, help create the kind of people that you want to be around and the lifestyle that you want to build. So I think, what drives me is how do I be the best me that I can be? And if it is to be, it's up to me. So I take full responsibility and ownership for everything in my life, from my bank account to my economy to my relationships, and what can I do to improve that?
Brilliant answer, my friend. That mindset of I just have to be a little bit better yesterday than I was yesterday. And that's 365 degrees of change. It's just like those little baby steps.
Exactly. It's everything.
Marty, my friend,
I've got you. What would your one question be?
my one question be?
Yeah, that you wish someone had asked you, but you haven't been asked.
Yeah. How do I get a hold of Marty's Porsche?
Yes. Well, I'm glad you asked. Well, you can come to New Zealand and I will take you out for a spin and we'll go and do track day. How's that sound?
That'd be brilliant, my friend. I'll hold you up to that.
Absolutely. It's been an absolute pleasure today, Michael. I enjoyed talking with you. You're a very giving man and I appreciate the time.
Thank you, my friend. All the best. And I'll probably see you in Texas.
I'll look forward to it. Absolutely.
Right.
Texas,
Cheers,
here we
mate.
come.
Thanks for listening to Builder Straight Talk. Make sure to like, comment, and share this episode on your favorite social media platform. And don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, available wherever you get your podcast streaming fix. Until next time, keep building smarter. This episode is made possible by our sponsor, Sound Capital, funding built for builders.